Hey guys, since we are in this phase of craziness and uncertainty, I just figure I'd come on and give you guys a bit of the scenarios of the Anunnaki and how they function when they dealt with prophecy. When I share my work, I often discuss how the multiple gods that lived on the earth created their own religions, took over different nations of people and tribes and tongues, Genesis chapter 10. When those things were going on the earth, they functioned like religion does today. You know, they formed a Torah. That's where you get the Hebrews in the Bible and the laws that they had to obey, their Torah. You get most of the things that you find in the Bible that deal with religion were fashioned after the protocol and the laws and the edict and the governance of the Anunnaki from their planet. And this is why I often correlate Psalm chapter 82 and verse 1 that speaks of the council of the gods and how they would congregate together almost like a boardroom, and they would make decisions and laws and how the issues and the agendas would be carried on earth. So they were essentially creating and formulating government, religion, and all sorts of societal structures and how they would function on the earth. And they had rules, and the rules had to abide by the actual rules of the Anunnaki that they went by on their own planet. So when you study the ancient tales of Sumer, you see the correlations between how the gods functioned and lived their law and how the human beings that they ruled over were made to follow the exact copy of those functions. And so many of the things that the Anunnaki did when it was coming to how it is that they would formulate religion and get the people on the earth to follow them and worship them. One of the things that they did was they had the people, they wanted to build the faith of the people in a promise of a future time. They also wanted the people to live in fear, that if they did not obey the edicts or the laws or the Torah that were governed and fashioned from their councils, Psalm 82 and verse 1, that they would inherit the worst of it. And, you know, we see examples of this in the Bible when it speaks of hell and punishment of the wicked and the evil. And at the same time that the Bible does that, in Matthew 6, 9, and 10, it speaks of the kingdom and how people pray for that kingdom. And if they follow the edicts and the laws of the Torah and the New Testament and Old Testament, all that stuff, that they would be able to inherit the paradise or inherit the promises that give someone hope. So sprinkle throughout the holy books, religious, the Bhagavad Gita text, the Quran, the Bible, are these maledictions and these blessings, the punishments and the rewards for being good. One of the things that stands out for all of us are prophecies of what would happen in the future. Oftentimes, when we read these holy books, it speaks of how they would return. The God of the Bible would return. And when he would return, he would bring reward and judgment as well. This is why a lot of Christian faiths have the teachings of the rapture sprinkled throughout religion ubiquitously in every culture from the very beginning of mankind's history that has been written on stone for us to learn from today. Those materials that spoke of a time that things would come to fruition as far as the returning of God or the returning of Jesus. The Anunnaki texts are, according to my work that I have shared with you guys, are the original prototype to the Bible and the books, holy books today, and the religions that they left on the planet when they left Earth for the people to follow. And they left people with the idea that if they prayed for this eventuality, this kingdom, that they would return. And so many religionists either threaten people with the retribution and judgment of the return in the book of Revelations. And some people say that you're going to inherit blessings if you were good, right? And so we can look at the book of Revelation and see how the verbiage of the book of Revelation is exactly the same as all of these other ancient cultures that made these threats and these promises for the return of God. When we correlate that with the Anunnaki, we see it as the return of the gods. And so in the Anunnaki tales, there were many incidences where there were promises of specific gods' return. With that return came their particular judgment for their particular people. Right now, we see certain things that are happening on the planet today, and many people are anticipating that this is the return of their God. We know that with every catastrophic event that human beings have dealt with on the planet, they have anticipated and said that God is coming. 100 years ago, we had the Spanish influenza. They spoke of God returning then. 1820, another disease, the Black Plague, another disease. And with every event, there were conversations that God was returning again. And so understanding and comprehending that, if we become students of the past and read the historical data that was left to humanity, not the religious books, but the books that they were based on, the plagiarized version is trying to allude to the original story. It is in those original stories that we find the data as to how these end time events or the proposed end time events would actually play themselves out. When you read the book of Revelations and you don't understand the context and you don't understand the origin of those stories, then you are left in the dark as to what it means and what the symbolism is. Understanding and comprehending the root, the tales of Sumer, the ancient Anunnaki, will unfold and decode and unravel the mysteries of the book of Revelation and all of the prophecies that these books hold out. According to the ancient tales, much older than the Bible, that the Bible is giving its rendition from, when it speaks of the God coming from the heavens, it is actually telling us about these more ancient tales that speak of the alien gods that came down to earth and ruled over man. When you keep that vision in your head of the actual ascending and descending of the gods, and the fact that we are speaking of aliens, almost like the movies, envision the movies of aliens when you were reading the Bible. And then you will comprehend what is actually going on. And so, yes, the Anunnaki have tales of their return. And their return will be exactly as it was when they were ruling over man and men were able to see them, to worship them, to sacrifice human flesh to them, to do all of the things that the Bible God did. So when you're reading those renditions, read them in the context of the original story, the ancient tales of Sumer and the Anunnaki when the gods ruled the earth and left their books or their prototypes of religion. When you understand and comprehend that, then it's so easy to read the Bible and comprehend exactly what it is that they are trying to convey to humanity. We have been left in the dark as to those stories, to the reality of the alien human connection. And because they have been able to remove those concepts from our minds, then we take the books that they have given us and turned it into religion, and we begin to worship these gods that are said to return. I hope to elaborate on this in the future. Just think of what is happening right now. Because if you comprehend what is happening right now, then you will know the bigger picture of what is being planned. Stay tuned. I hope to delve into this. There's just too much data for me to share and be on YouTube a lot because it's just a lot of information. I put the beginnings of it in the book, and there's so much more. But if you have an open mind enough to delve into this, then you will comprehend what is happening right now. And you will prepare yourself so that your auric field is able to take in the powerful energetic bombardment that will be happening to human beings on the planet. If and when, according to the historical information that I have been able to decipher and has been recorded for man to look at, but you have been denied because you are stuck in religion. Hopefully, I can come back and elaborate on those things. I have upcoming videos coming up very soon. And yeah, I'll be on live as well. So take care, guys. Be prepared. Keep your eyes open for what is happening. And you will be able to connect the dots to the greater picture that will blow your mind. Take care, guys. Bye.